Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to go over the character review for Evelyn. I'm going to cover all the usual points and we're going to start with a general overview of the unit. Evelyn, as already mentioned in previous videos, is the best pure tank we have in the game. She can survive on her own without any external support. She can apply debuffs on enemies, and good ones, I would say. And she can also provoke them, which will improve the durability of the team and also apply the Miongle effects with the HP recovery block and energy recovery block. So overall, really valuable unit. She can run in any kind of composition. She doesn't really shine in any specific one, to be honest. She is extremely versatile. You can run her wherever you want. Really, really good value. Now, she is not a must-have unit, mainly because if you don't have DPSs and if you don't have supports, Evelyn won't really do much. Like, she won't have carry level DPS, she won't support your team and keep them alive like a support would. So in general, she's not like a good foundation for an account. If your account is very fresh and you don't have a lot of options, she won't really help you much. But if you already have a lot of DPSs, a lot of supports, Evelyn is a very good unit to take your account to the next level. Is very similar to Kunagero in this aspect. Like also Kunagero, I mentioned kind of the same things, is not the best early support to have, but is a very good unit once your account is well built. So Evelyn is kind of in a similar situation. So again, if you have a fresh account, you're short on resources, Evelyn is not the unit you should be pulling for. But for already good accounts, Evelyn is a nice addition. She can counter some annoying units. She also suffers against some matchups. We're going to cover that in the team building section. But overall, really, really great unit. So I would say we can have a quick look at the kit, just a very brief kit overview. We're going to start with the passive as usual. She's going to summon a domain, which is a small AoE, which gets bigger every time a special move or skill is used. And all enemies within this domain will have their swiftness decreased by 30 and their attack decreased by 20%. These effect stacks up to 5 times, and the domain expands up to 5 times. After which the size is quite huge, and the effect is going to be 150 swiftness decrease and 100% attack decrease, both of which are really, really valuable effects. And when you apply a defense decrease debuff on Evelyn, she's going to instead get a defense increase. These hardly matters, is more for the enemy Evelyn, if anything, or for PvP, if we really want to talk about that. But okay, so really, really valuable passive. Then we have the first active skill, which she's going to cast immediately at the start of the battle, basically. She's going to dash toward the enemies and take a defensive stance, provoking enemies for 5 seconds, and activate Auto Guard for 10. Auto Guard is really important because we'll apply a damage taken cap to Evelyn, so she will take up to 3% of her max HP per hit, and she's going to recover 200% of her attack every second, which is going to be further improved with the exclusive equipment. So really, really good. And after she activates Auto Guard, she's going to also strike down the enemy and deal damage, fine, but also decrease their energy. Really, really good. Then we have the second active skill, which is less important, I would say, but still relevant. She's going to hold her sword in a reverse edge grip and strike enemies, dealing a percentage of her attack, fine, stunning them for 3 seconds and stealing 80% of their defense until the end of the battle. The steal limit is 1000% of Evelyn defense. We don't really care, that is for the increase to Evelyn's actual defense. You could run it with resistances, you don't need to, so I don't generally recommend that, but more on that in the investment guide portion of the video. So overall, really good to buff the damage of your attack scaling DPS units. Then we have the special move, which is not the best, but it is still okay. So she's going to become immune to status effects, and then she's going to spin 3 times around and knock up enemies. That's it. She's then going to have an 80% damage taken decrease until her special move ends. This is not important at all. She already has basically 100% uptime on the damage taken cap, that is in the active skill, so we don't really care. But overall, solid kit. As we saw, she has a useful defense decrease, swiftness decrease is also good, and the attack decrease as well. So pretty valuable. Then if we look at the exclusive equipment, she has the second active skill, the reverse blade grip, that is guaranteed to land, and the stolen defense cannot be removed with buff removal skills. This only applies to the defense increase to Evelyn, which we don't care about, so it's whatever. Level 2 is also whatever, is going to have a max cooldown decrease by 5 seconds for that active skill, so the cooldown is 5 seconds shorter, fine. Level 3 and level 4 are exactly the same, and they are also the same as what she already had. She already had a 200% attack every second as HP recovered, then additional 200%, then additional 200%. That's kind of it. Now, this is not tied to the auto guard skill like this 200% is, but they're basically going to be up all the time anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's effectively 600% of her attack every second as HP back, but this would be tied to when she uses the special move, so it's okay. It's okay, nothing much, but it's definitely nice. Since she has a damage taken cap, she will hardly ever die, to be honest. Really good unit. Then we have the Revolution. Revolution is key because I didn't mention it before, but this is not a unit that works at 0 dupes. She needs bare minimum Orange 4 because of Revolution 4. Revolution 4 makes it so her auto guard is enhanced, and when she falls below 20% HP, she becomes invincible for 3 seconds, and her auto guard cooldown instantly resets. This effect has a 10-second cooldown. This is absolute insanity. This is 100% uptime on this auto guard skill. It's insane. It's really insane. I don't know what they thought when they designed this skill, but it's completely nuts. Really, really good. You don't need any max cooldown reduction. You don't need anything. She will always have it up. Absolute must. Great, great Revolution upgrade. Then we have Revolution 5, which on the other hand is not that necessary. But basically, whenever she expands the domain, which is limited to 5 times over the course of the battle, and it's also not for very long, to be honest, because she will normally use enough skills and special move within the first 10 to 15 seconds on the fight, and afterwards you're basically never proccing this Revolution 5 effect again. And when she expands the domain, it also decreases the critical hit resistance and critical damage of enemies in the domain by 80%. Additionally, Evelyn provokes enemies in the domain for 5 seconds. This is massive to apply Myeonggol in the initial stage of the fight, but then it's kind of worthless, to be honest. Then you only have to rely on the auto guard skill every 10 seconds, give or take, to provoke, and that's it. It is really good early on, really, really valuable for Myeonggol, but unfortunately you cannot apply it throughout the whole fight. It's a shame, but it is what it is. And that's it for Revolution. I would say we can have a quick look at the ignition weapons as well. There isn't a lot to mention here. I would say Myeonggol, from my point of view, is the best option because it will add the HP recovery block and the energy recovery block to her kit. So super valuable, works well with Revolution 5. Even without Revolution 5, you will kind of start the fight with a provoke. So that's a very early energy block, and that's super useful. It really helps a lot. It's more helpful in the initial part of the fight than to have it constantly applied throughout the whole fight. I mean, obviously it would be better if it could be also constant, but I mean, in the early stage of the fight, it's already good enough. A good alternative would be to run Doris, because if you place her in the back, she gets the Doris shield. We don't really care a lot about the swiftness, it's irrelevant, but we care about having the shield that it breaks, and then she can apply the energy reduction on enemies. So it's a reliable way of applying energy reduction on enemies quite frequently. It's not too important. I prefer to have Myeonggol, to be honest, but Doris would be more useful throughout the whole fight. So kind of up to you. You can try both because you don't really need to level them up. You can give her like 4+0 pieces of a set, see how it performs, then try the other. Is really not a problem. And then I also added Rafflesia as an option, but for now there is really no reason to. Okay, you can protect a bit better against CCs, but we don't care. So we'll see after Rafflesia gets the buff. For now, definitely worse than the other two. And that's it for ignition weapons. Let's have a quick look at the investment guide. For the mandatory, as already mentioned, I kind of assigned the orange 4 as the minimum. And yeah, I definitely think that makes sense. If you're trying to use Evelyn that is not orange 4, she will feel very lacking. At the very least, like red 1 has a good duration on the auto guard skill, but still she could die before she even gets to cast it, so not really the best. Orange 4, absolute must if you want to have a unit that can stand alone in any fight and survive. Orange 4 is where it's at. For the exclusive equipment, we have the plus 30 just for the extra HP recovery. To be honest, you could stop at plus 20, but it is so cheap nowadays that there is no reason to. Rapport, you don't necessarily need the accuracy. It is nice to apply the defense decrease, etc., but it's not a must, so I just left it at level 4. For gear configuration, everything +0. As usual, you can go a bit of accuracy with the slot 1. You don't need to go crit rate and crit damage. You don't need to go resistances. So maybe in this case, if you need the extra accuracy, slot 1 would be good. Otherwise, irrelevant. For ignition weapon, I left everything a +0 because really you don't need to level anything up. She will survive anyway. And for slot 4, I assigned the effect hit as the main stat. Again, if you leave it at +0, it won't really matter, but it's decent to apply the defense decrease and also the other effects that she has, but it's not important. I mean, really, you can run her without any upgrades. It's totally fine. For slot 5, I assigned physical peers, but just because there are no better alternatives. So we can get her to deal some sort of damage. But yeah, it's garbage. It's garbage. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. For substats, accuracy is good, evasion is good, effect resistance is good, effect hit is good. The damage stats are not really important. So I'd rather focus on these 4, or if your evasion is low because your archive is kind of garbage, you can just go accuracy, effect resistance, or effect hit. That's it. Really very, very low requirement. You can also run effect resistance slot 4. She already has it in the Revolution subnode because she's a tank, but you can always go for the extra resistance. It hardly matters, to be honest. Then for Revolution, the only 2 subnodes that you really care about are effect resistance and HP recovery block. Sorry, I don't know why I said HP recovery block, but HP recovery per second. This is a node that I don't normally take on any tank. It's not really useful, but since she has a damage taken cap, she can actually use it. So this is a quite good node, and I think you can afford to invest in it. But the mandatory one would be effect resistance, just so that she can stay alive a bit more reliably in case enemies have a lot of CCs, and if she's stunned for too long, her damage taken cap might expire and she won't get to the point where she can recast it. So you definitely want some sort of effect resistance so that you can dodge most of the status effects. For recommended, we have Rainbow 5, we have Report 6, gear, same as before, ignition weapon, same as before, nothing really changed. And for Revolution, we just got to Revolution 5, but investment in the subnodes, it is the same as before. Really, nothing changed. For nice to have, we have Rainbow 5 again, obviously, level 6 report, +0 everywhere in the gear. I gave the +20 everywhere in the ignition weapon. Again, not needed. Can easily work at +0, but this was the nice to have. So I added everything that could make sense to invest in. And for the subnodes, I obviously added the Revolution 6 and the max cooldown reduction. This is again not necessary because our Revolution 4 is already resetting the cooldown on the only active skill we care about, so it's not really needed. It's just, again, nice to have. And that's about it for the investment. Now let's have a quick look at the team building part. And this is going to be super quick as well, because really you can use her wherever you want. So for the things that she provides, we already saw, she has a swiftness decrease, which is massive, energy decrease, provoke, defense decrease, and attack decrease. That's most of the stuff that she provides. I did not include the critical hit resistance decrease and the critical damage decrease. We could, but it doesn't really matter. I also did not include the effects from Yongo because maybe you want to run Doris. Then we have here what she needs from the team. Absolutely nothing. So we don't care about like extra survivability, we don't care about extra energy, we don't care about anything. Maybe grouping could have been something to mention, but it's really not important, to be honest. Which enemies should you avoid? Now here, it's important to mention a few units. Well, actually one, because everyone else you can still deal with. But if you are facing enemies that have invincibility frames in every single animation, like Revolution Bomb, then it could be annoying because minus 150 swiftness will make those animations super long and it will be invincible for the whole duration, and it could lead to some timeouts. Now, the only unit that ever timed me out because of this was Revolution Bomb. Then other units like potentially Evankel or other units with invincibility during animations could survive a bit longer, but usually it's not an issue. Revolution Bomb is the only really annoying one. But even then, you can work around it if you have units that maybe delay the use of the active skill so that there is a bit of downtime in between. You have ways around it. It's just the only annoying unit that Evelyn can face. Everyone else, pretty easy to deal with. And the enemies that this unit is good against, as already said, anyone except for Revolution Bomb, but she can still win if you have the right teams around him. So it's okay. Like, really great unit. You can use her everywhere, and the value, and you will see the value. For synergies, I only added two because, as I mentioned, she works everywhere. She doesn't have any specific great synergy that I wanted to highlight. So I just added Irang to mention that grouping is really important so that everyone is within the domain that Evelyn has and has the 150 decrease in swiftness. That's basically the most important thing, but even then, you don't need that. And I added Irang, but it could have been Urek, it could have been Augustus as well, that we have here on the right. It could be also the new unit that is going to be released, so Rashut. But yeah, just grouping in general. She's just a placeholder for grouping. Then we have Augustus. Augustus is just a placeholder for any type of DPS. We don't really care whether it's attack scaling, whether it's HP scaling, whether it needs grouping, whether it doesn't need grouping. It doesn't matter. You can run Evelyn with whoever you want. Here, Augustus is just generally a better option for Evelyn because he also has some grouping. He benefits from grouping, so it's just leveraging a bit more stuff. But again, literally use anybody. Unit synergies with Evelyn is literally any unit in the game. There is nobody that doesn't benefit from Evelyn. Or maybe there is, I just forgot about it. But okay. Then for some basic teams, we have a monocolor one, super basic as well. We have Data Kunedan, we have Evelyn, we have Irang, we have Bam and Evan. Very basic team. I could have added maybe Wang Nanja instead of Kunedan. I could have used regular Kunedan instead of the Data one, is obviously better. I could have used regular Kunedan instead of Bam and go double Eden. Sure, that's obviously better. This is just a very basic comp that I think anyone that is pulling for Evelyn can pull off fairly easily. But yeah, like literally in yellow, you can do whatever you want. Cha works great, Augustus works great, Double Adam works great, Wangnan works great, whatever you want. Really, yellow is insane at the moment. You can make multiple teams, not just one. For the multicolor team, I didn't really know what to recommend because again, she's so versatile. You can use her wherever you want. I didn't want to go again with a sort of Eden team or yellow team. So I added 3 purple units, Anna for the initial grouping, so that then Augustus can group a bit better because his AoE grouping is not as good as Yarang. He needs somebody else to keep units a bit together at first. For that, there is Anna. Then we have Kun and Yura as a combo to keep Augustus alive. And that's it. Literally, we could have used any support instead of Kun and Yura. We could have used any DPS instead of Augustus. We could have used any unit instead of Anna. It doesn't matter. To be honest, really, it's insane. She works wherever you want. So yeah, that's all guys about this unit. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Evelyn. And I will see you tomorrow for the live stream. Bye.